Hey everybody, it's MGTOW Academy here. Before I begin, I like to mention that I did make an error. What time is it? It's 5:37 in the morning right now, and I'm a bit tired, so I did make a mistake initially when I recorded um, the audio. This is MGTOW Stories episode number 6, not episode number 5. I don't know why I said that, but it's episode number 6, not number 5. I'm so stupid. Anyways, guys, enjoy the video. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the MGTOW Academy YouTube channel, and also welcome to MGTOW Stories, episode number 5. Today's story is once again getting pulled off of our MGTOW from Reddit, and it's actually going to be a bit different because this time we have a brother here who goes by Enzo19 on Reddit, who posted 2 stories. The last one being a little cry for help, if you will, because he's in a bit of a difficult situation, right? He's in a difficult situation right now, and he wanted some advice. So I'm going to go over the first story. It was just a couple of sentences, and then go over the next story, which is a bit longer, and then I'm going to give my analysis on it or my advice to him. So hopefully Enzo19, if you're watching this right now, I hope you are. You can go ahead and skip to you can go ahead and skip later into the video because I'm just going to read what you already typed up, so it's not going to really benefit you. I'll have it posted in the description box, like to what time mark you should skip to, because that's going to be the time mark where I actually start giving my advice. So anyways, let's go ahead and get right into the story, guys. The first post, as of this recording date, it was 27 days ago, right? And then he titled this post, "Send Help," and in parentheses mark, "Radical Feminist." And then he said, "So my guardian is friends with a radical feminist, and she is staying with us for the next 1 to 2 weeks. It's very difficult to remain both calm and low-key with this environment. This is a strange circumstance, but does anyone have tips towards me approaching this safely?" And by safely, I mean not leading to any debate about gender politics and me being, ganged up on and interacting with a radical feminist in ways that will not trigger them into insane behavior. Even now, they are talking about oppression. Help. Okay, so and then after that, he said, "Thanks, guys. The support is great." And that was 27 days ago. And today, he did post another post, and he wrote, "I need help." And then he put down in parentheses, "Radical Feminist Part 2. And then let's go ahead and jump right into this part. This is going to be a bit longer, I will say that, but stay with us, guys. It is you want to listen to the post, all right? So, he said, "I never saw this coming so far as to asking internet strangers for help, but I have hit rock bottom. The reason for posting this to MGTOW is the set of events that have thrown me into despair. Some of this stuff is pretty full on, but I guarantee this is not a troll post, and I will not hyperbolize any parts of this. And I do trust you. I fully trust you." So, moving on. He says, "So I'm 19 years old and have been living with my grandmother for about 3 years since my father abandoned me one day and never came back. He wanted me to have a better life with her since we were in poverty after his second divorce and would be homeless. We would soon be homeless indefinitely. And as a side note, he has been contacting me in the last few months, but my grandma straight up said, if I talk to him, you're out." So he works as a concreter and as a part-time drug dealer, if you're wondering. So moving on, my grandmother's friend came over to stay with us for about 2 to 3 weeks, and I don't know when she's leaving either. So now I've seen some pretty messed up people in my life. My mother is a I believe, I'm not sure how you say it. I've been struggling to say that all day. Schizophrenic. I know what that is. I just can't pronounce it. As schizophrenic, and my parents split up when I was about 3. She told the courts that my father had been raping me post-divorce, but custody went to, but the post-divorce custody went to my father because she is and was completely insane. And I'll tell you about the other messed up things that happened to our situation later on in this post. But back to the friend staying over. So this woman is in her 50s or 60s. I have no idea for an exact number, and is a very radical feminist. If I had to describe her, it is a unicorn that, when feminized, was filled with immense hatred for men and has been riding the cock carousel for many years. The entirety of her discussions with my grandma are about her getting into arguments with people, misinformed. Did you know this? Which are entirely non-factual things born out of hatred, and often ends in talks of the patriarchy that doesn't exist and oppression. Our first conversation was about how women live longer, just to upset me, even though this thinking is based on a set of average variables. She wears very bright colors when she goes out, to events and all that stuff, with a plethora of makeup on her face. I've actually seen gold-colored clothing on her once and was immediately worried for her mental state and, what was going to happen. So everything was fine for about a week. Following the advice from my last MGTOW post about this upcoming situation, I had it all figured out. Limit contact whenever possible, stay engrossed and busy, and I'm actually learning programming for a ticket out of this hellhole. And I very rarely leave my room. I eat, shower, and exercise when they are out or when they're sleeping to further limit my contact with this person. And at this point, my grandma, she's just talking crap constantly, but is a compulsive liar. So the feminist is getting even worse information to condemn me for, like singular events throughout 3 years. He did this, he did that, and it goes on forever. Now, mind you, I'm a very quiet person, and I rarely cause trouble for anybody. So these story manipulations at this point are straight up torture to listen to, and I understand you. But continuing on. But one day, about a weekend, I'd broken my own plan, and I forgot to brush my teeth after showering. So I went back to the bathroom. Oops, the feminist is there doing her makeup, and it almost gave me a heart attack, and I made a noise. That scared me. Sorry, I didn't know you were in there, and when will you be done? Were my follow-ups. She didn't respond, and I sat on my bed expecting some serious crap. So, walking into my room, she says, "What did you say to me?" And then I said, "Oh, I said I was wondering when you would be finished." "No, you didn't say that." "That is what I said." "No, you said heart attack and walked away." Through some introspection, I know that talking is not my forte. I believe that's how I say that. But clearly, I said that right in front of her, and she just ignored me completely. Fast forward, and she starts telling me the proper way to speak, and I eventually say, "Well, if you had just closed the door, I would have known that someone was in there." And she completely loses her crap on the spot. She leaves, and I go back to the bathroom. I start brushing my teeth, and she walks back over. I say, "Occupied, I know, what do you want from me?" And she puts on a face of rage and rushes in, shutting the door. I've yet to see a more petty thing to do this day. So the mat, it was in front of the door. So she completely screws the movement up, throws it out of the way, and she slams the door. Now, on my part, this situation could have been handled better, undoubtedly. For anybody wondering why this is petty, it's because she already knew that I was in the bathroom after saying, "It's free now," then watching me enter defeats the purpose of doing it in the first place. Now, this one event was enough for the feminist to turn her switch on and try to ruin my life. Okay, so before we move on, I actually forgot to mention it at the beginning. This story, of course, as always, will be posted. The post, it will be in the description box below, so you guys can actually read it for yourselves. I think I forgot to mention that at the beginning, so I do apologize. But we're going to continue moving on, all right? In the following week, I've heard things, really disturbing things, that progressively just got worse and worse. Take his door down, remove all his technology, kick him out, and this one could actually happen soon. Make him do this, make him do that. Just leave for a few weeks. And this one messed with me the most because they are hamstering me into some abusive person when I actually hate confrontation. Undoubtedly, I've got issues with social anxiety. To continue, he is only here for your will. What? I had zero choice in this living arrangement, and it sickens me that you would think so psychotically about people's intentions. Eventually, they were talking about how a 19-year-old boy on TV raped and killed a girl on the streets, and it was very obvious that this was an attempt to liken that boy to me. Now, currently, I just want to get out of here. I want to get out of here. My problem for the past year, since I finished high school, was getting a job with social anxiety. There are no problems with me talking to friends. So, through some self help CBT, other known as cognitive behavioral therapy reading, I hope to get a job within the next few weeks. And I would appreciate any and all help from you guys and what my time should be spent on in achieving this goal. To be quite honest, I'll be getting these bucks illicitly since I've got $0 to my name. I can get anything through MIRC. Please don't hate me for this because I feel it's the only way to get me out of here. All right, so in addition to that, he added, I promise to state my events after my father's first divorce. So, my father, he meets a fat chick with 2 children who has been divorced from her previous partner, and the man was apparently abusive, but I know he was a pussy worshipping cuck just from investigating his Facebook. And the guy, he was insanely rich. He was loaded. All right. So to cut a few years short, my mom, she hates my guts, and they forced me to live in the garage for about a year. And these are the following events, not in order. The first one being me running away one day. The second one being my father trying to commit double suicide. And then in parentheses, OP wrote, tied a pipe to his UTS exhaust. He typed in UTS, but I think that's a typo for cars or something. So he tied a pipe to his car's exhaust or whatever, and he didn't lock the door, so he jumped out, and we convinced him to stop. Next, they divorced, and the next one would be daily abuse. Basically, I was like the chore man, and those periods were some of the saddest of my life. Getting crapped, talked in front of her while trying to eat dinner. My father trying to sneak food into the garage for me to eat when she completely won't even let me inside. Then, as a result, depression and social anxiety ensue, and I start putting up a shell, and I don't communicate with people. And then he shared some personal details about how he was one of those children who never really tried in school. Never tried. They never really tried. They never studied for tests, or they were the last ones walking into an exam, and then they got C's perpetually, despite everyone telling me that I'm capable of getting A's. And this continued into high school with the same trends. This is just what I was given. Good looks and smarts, but we are the sum total of our environment and experience, and he's absolutely right. I fully believe so much of my potential is being wasted, and it kills me. Imagine if I had been born with faulty genes. I would have already killed myself. And by faulty, I'm talking about the hereditary chance of my mother's schizophrenia being, passed down to me, and also being dumb and ugly. And then he also added, any help and all help is appreciated. I've stopped shaking after writing this, so it seems rather therapeutic. So I'm going to read this CBT book, then a few more, and I will respond to any comments. All right, guys. So right now, I'm going to give my advice to the OP, our brother, who goes by Enzo19 on Reddit. And Enzo19, I'm telling you right now that I wish you the best. I truly do. I understand that you are in a really bad situation, and I wish you the most safe and happy recovery from it. I understand that you desperately need advice and help regarding the current situation that you're facing. So I'll tell you right now that I'm not a psychologist by any means, but that feminist that you're dealing with right now is mentally unstable. And I mean really mentally unstable. I think we can all agree upon that at this point. So she is obviously having a negative effect on you. Add that to the existing conditions that you're facing, and we can all come to the conclusion that you're under a lot of stress. And studies have shown that for a long time, stress can have a negative, lasting effect on your brain. Even exposure to just a few days of stress compromises the effectiveness of neurons in the hippocampus. And no, it's not a university campus named after hippos. It's actually an important brain area responsible for reasoning and memory. I suggest that you do your best on the part of not letting her crowd get to you. That's part of my advice, but not all of it. Just part of it, all right? Because remember that you have to keep the most positive and optimistic view possible if you want to make it out there alive, my friend. And realize that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. And realize that there are better days ahead of you. And notice how I say that with confidence. It's because I know that you will have better days ahead. I know you can make it. I know you can pull through. I 100% guarantee it. You're living with a feminist. It can't get any worse than that, my friend. Now, telling you to just deal with it is horrible advice. So let's move on to other strategies to dealing with the feminist that you live with. Remember, I'm going to take a strategic approach with this, okay? So first of all, let's begin with coping with your emotions. Your emotions are a response to the environment that you're in. They guide you in dealing with situations, and it's vital to understand that your emotions, because they will help you to make better decisions regarding future problems. So that's why it's vital to understand your emotions. They will help you to make better decisions, okay? Understand your emotions. And also remember that your emotions don't have to control you. Just because you are angry at not being able to successfully program some code doesn't mean you have to punch a hole through your monitor screen and toss your computer out the window. I mean, you could do that, but I highly recommend that you don't do that, okay? Okay, so what I'm talking about is channeling your emotions and channeling your energy, okay? Instead of raging and breaking your computer and getting angry, you could channel that anger elsewhere. You could channel that anger for exercise to wear yourself out for a bit. And in the process, you become more muscular and strong. See? There is something you could do right there. And you already do it. You exercise. Okay? You build confidence and you look more muscular. You're knocking out two birds with one stone. And after that, you would move on and then try again at trying to successfully program the code. And eventually, you would get it. All right? Now, I may have not used computer terminology correctly in the example I just made up, but I tried. Okay? I tried. And not just with that, okay? It doesn't have to be with programming. That analogy, it can be applied to any aspect of your situation or any aspect in life at all. So you should get the point now. Channel out your emotions so that they benefit you, not so they harm you, but so that they benefit you, okay? That also means that you understand them. And you mentioned that posting about your situation felt therapeutic. It stopped you from shaking. So you could keep an online diary. It's it would be a private one that only you can see and one that is password protected. And if you want to, you could post about events that happen to you on our MGTOW on Reddit so that you get the benefits of that therapeutic feeling and so that others can pitch in with some advice regarding the situation. Also, ask yourself questions about how you feel and how you could deal with your emotions. It's all about understanding yourself. Not understanding those crazy women that you got to deal with. It's about understanding you. Try your best to interpret your emotions and making decisions based off of your emotions and what you interpret of your emotions. Okay? Next, let's move on to exercise. I see that you already do it, but I want you to focus more on it. Okay? I know you already do it. I'm aware of that, but I want you to focus more on it. And as I mentioned earlier, exercise is a great and productive way to channel out anger and frustration. And you don't have to have access to a gym to get ripped. Trust me, many people underestimate the effectiveness in body weight only workouts. I only use body weight workouts myself, and I will link an exercise channel in the description box that I personally trust and use for my workouts. You know, they have all you need dynamic stretches to get warmed up, an at-home series that focuses on many various muscle groups like the biceps, triceps, chest, obliques, abs, and even forearms. They have a bunch of static stretches that focus on different muscle groups to help you cool down. And the guy who runs the channel, he's a great guy and he aims to help you. So I highly recommend that you try to exercise on a routine, not just I'm mad today, I'm gonna do some push-ups and just work on my biceps. No, on a routine. Doesn't matter if you're happy, sad, angry, do it. No excuses. You're going to do it anyways. Develop a routine. It develops discipline, right? There are many benefits to doing exercise alone, and doing it on a routine has even more benefits. It's a great way to build confidence. As I said earlier, develop discipline, meet and achieve goals that you've created by yourself, and just simply surprise yourself with what you're capable of. And that itself is a big builder in self-confidence. And before you call me a a sellout and a shill, I'll tell you right now that I've been using the channel for a while now, and I always rely on them for exercise. And I didn't even spend a penny for their workouts. And that's what I love about the channel. It's a great resource for you to get stronger and to improve yourself. And once again, the channel, it's in the description box. So you be sure to check it out. All right. Great channel. I highly recommend that you incorporate workouts as a part of your daily routine or whatever it may be, nightly routine. I do them at night before I go to bed. It's up to you. Just do it to build discipline and build confidence. Okay. It will definitely help you. Please exercise on a routine. All right. Many benefits to exercise. Just go to Google and search up, or it doesn't even have to be Google. Just search up benefits of exercise on the internet, and you'll find there's so many benefits. So please exercise on a routine. Next, I'd like to focus on dealing with those nutcases that you got to deal with. So we're going to go over how to deal with confrontations. Okay, so first, recognize their patterns. Recognize the ways that they attack you. The majority of chronically irrational people have a common way of operating, and as time goes by, these patterns can trigger you to burst. And by identifying their patterns of irrationality, you are less likely to burst, and you're more likely to have a calm, collected, irrational response to their attacks. Next, try to maintain poise. In other words, strive your best to maintain composure. I want you to stand your ground. Whenever you start your day, think of the situations that you could face and what you could do to maintain poise. Poise, it increases effectiveness in dealing with irrational people. For example, the people that you're dealing with right now. It's a great strategy in maintaining poise. A great strategy in maintaining poise under stress is visualizing a mentor or a role model telling you to maintain poise. So if you've had a mentor in your life, or if you've had a close friend, or if you've had like a role model that you look up to, imagine them, visualize them in your head telling you need to maintain poise, or you need to do this. Imagine that. Imagine them telling you to maintain poise. You can also try this great strategy called 3 strikes and you're calm. All right. So if you're about to burst, try to utilize this technique to maintain control and to keep your cool. All right. So think of the first 3 things that you want to say. Think of the first thing that you want to say and take a breath and then exhale. It may be an insult. Whatever it is, don't say it. Okay? Because it will most likely be an insult or whatever it is. You are going to repeat the process for the second thing that you wanted to say and the third thing you wanted to say. Think about it. Breathe in and exhale. Because you don't want to have an irrational response. You are trying to maintain poise and keep your cool. By utilizing this technique in a confrontation when you are about to burst, what you have done, what you are doing is de-escalating your mind from an irrational state to a state of rational thinking and reasoning. And you should do this by maintaining your composure, and by doing this, you are letting the other person know that their attack strategy isn't working on you. So if you maintain composure, you always come out with rational responses, you are the one who is winning. And you're basically letting them know, hey, your approach isn't working on me. All right? Because that person who's attacking you, they're going to think, hey, he's still keeping his cool. He's still calm. How come he hasn't burst? So I would like to clarify, though, that these strategies won't always work, and they may not always get you the results that you want, but they can still help a lot. Okay, they still can. That's why I spent 3 hours writing this thing. Okay, but I'm just trying to say that don't hold me accountable if something goes seriously wrong. Okay, that's just my way of saying it. All right, but talk to a close male friend if you can about your problems, and if you don't have anybody to talk to, you can always talk to me via email or Google Hangouts. Just drop me a message at mgtowacademy.media@gmail.com. Talk to me through email, through Hangouts, and I'll be happy to talk to you and talk out the situations that you're dealing with, okay? Like I said, I'd be more than happy to talk to you about what you're going through, but let's move on, okay? So moving on, let's finally focus on getting yourself out of there. Okay, so you could join the military if you wanted. Okay, we're going to look at your we're going to look at your options right now. So you could join the military if you wanted to. I have personal reasons as to why you shouldn't join the military, like, the real reason for war, and, how you would, like, pointlessly serve the agenda for some politicians who want to profit off of war. I got personal reasons, right? But whether you agree with me or not on those points, that doesn't matter. Let's leave my bias and my opinions out of this. We're focusing on you. We're focusing on your survival, okay? So if you want to enlist in the military, in the service, go for it, man. I want you to be happy. As long as you're happy, I'm happy, all right? You can enlist or serve in whatever branch you want to. You will find a purpose in life. And, you want to be, you're learning programming that's very useful in the military. So, that would work out perfectly. If not the military, you could work a minimum wage job somewhere and, save up money and rebuild your own life, okay? You can do that. Or you could research ways to get jobs at tech companies since you are, learning programming, you could look for new job opportunities at companies, whether it's tech related or not, just to kind of, get some money and become financially stable and then go on to your programming career. It's up to you, man. It really is. Or you could become the next Mark Zuckerberg, except that you don't create the disease called social media. And I mean social media for, like, personal use, okay? Like, that's a monster right there. Just basically be like the next Rambo entrepreneur who's on your own, doing their own thing. They become insanely successful, except that you don't end up, creating a plague for society like Facebook. But we're going to move on, all right? Like I said, it's all up to you. I want you to get out there and rebuild your life and live it as you like it and have fun. All right? But until that day comes, hang in there and pull through, brother. I know it isn't easy, but I firmly believe that you can pull through. Enzo 19, if you're watching this right now, know that the MGTOW community has your back, and I certainly do as well. You're going through hard times, and I hope that my advice can help you. I truly do. I hope it can help, all right? Remember that you can always email me or message me on Google Hangouts if you need to talk, and I wish you the best in your programming career or whatever path in life that you choose to take. All right, everybody, that's it for today's video. If you have any advice for Enzo 19, you can let him know in the comment section or on Reddit. And remember that it's a dangerous world out there, so be sure to keep taking your daily doses of Red Pills and to stay safe. Everybody, this is MGTOW Academy, signing off.